I didn't only want to use this time to be upset, but we have to express ourselves. We have to create beauty in this ugly, ugly world. What just happened reminds me why I don't want to have kids. Everybody should have a right. And shit like this makes me not want to put more suffering into the world. Because what is kids going to be born into? If they're not rich, if they're poor, if they're black, if they have dark skin, you don't even gotta be black, they just colorists. Colorism is something that exists that we don't talk about enough. So yeah, I wrote this poem, and I wrote this poem last night reflecting on the rally and how we were gonna come together in solidarity, and yell and scream and be upset, and say what we had to say. Very short. All right, and my name is Tenaya Taylor, by the way. I'm the executive director at the Nonprofit Accountability Group. My pronouns are they, them. Thank you again for being here. My body, my life. Dreaming of a world where there is no pain, where children aren't left alone to suffer, wondering what they have to do for another meal. A world where they don't have to sell their bodies for food. I dream of a world that's green, a world with trees, clean air, and health care. Doesn't a world like that already exist? Some might ask. It exists in the suburbs for people like Mitch McConnell, Clarence Thomas, potato-looking ass, for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, but not for people like me, not for some of you. I dream of a world where we can all be together, smiling, because everybody got dental care. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we just here again in solidarity to express ourselves. So I invite you, if you have something to say, if you want to get on the mic, if you have a song you want to sing or a poem that you want to express, get up here, let me know, raise your hand. We need to hear you. We need to hear your voice. We need to hear why you're here. We need to hear Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Our bodies matter. Our bodies matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives matter. Our bodies matter.
Hi, my name is Melinda Juice. I'm a climate activist, but I believe in intersectionality. And this is actually the speech that I didn't get to give at the New Haven rally on Friday because I was at the end and they cut up the last few speakers. So I was all prepared, so I'm going to give it to you guys. It's not hard to see the intersectionality between reproductive rights and the climate movement. For one thing, people in the climate movement get pregnant. They must be able to choose whether they want to have children or not. Mothers are the most impacted demographic in climate catastrophes. They have to protect and figure out how to feed and house their children when they lose their homes. And mothers, especially single mothers, often have the fewest resources. That applies to women around the world, as well as in the most vulnerable parts of our own country and cities like Hartford. Forcing motherhood on women would exacerbate their suffering and insecurity. And imagine what it would be like to give birth during a climate emergency, a wildfire, a flood, or a climate-fueled hurricane. I've had 2 children and I can't imagine. about what would happen, that there might be a climate disaster when I was ready to give birth. When a person is pregnant, they suffer more from pollution, extreme heat, and climate-related malnutrition. Preterm births, poor maternal health, and stillborn rates are all expected to climb as global temperatures continue to rise. Those who can get pregnant must be able to determine their own future. This decision, the Supreme Court decision, is also deeply racist. Federal data shows that even now, black maternal mortality is more than 3 times that of whites. Other data show that black women's health outcomes improved the most of any demographic group after Roe became law. Denying them access to abortion would likely increase this health divide. I'm wearing a shirt that I just came back a few weeks ago from a climate walk, a climate justice walk. But we also need reproductive justice for our children and grandchildren. I was almost 25 when Roe was decided, so there were plenty of years when my friends and classmates were getting illegal, sometimes dangerous and deadly abortions. We won't go back.
That got everybody out here and mobilized. Defend healthcare rights for all by coming together in solidarity and raising awareness for the lives of everyone who will be impacted by the Supreme Court's latest decision. They made this decision during summer on a Friday of all times like we wouldn't notice, but we did notice. And just like this weekend, we are showing up again to say abortion is healthcare. Abortion is healthcare. Now is the time to show up, pray, cry, share, laugh, dance, sing together to show people that they are not alone. You are not alone. There's always somebody. Hi, baby. Overturning Roe versus Wade is not only a healthcare issue, but it is a racial issue because black people are already widely discriminated against in reproductive health care. This is an environmental issue because traveling further away for abortions will increase emissions and pollute our air. This is a labor issue because more forced pregnancies mean that paid time off and parental leave has to be demanded for all employed people. Forced birth at the border and in deportation facilities will create profit for those interested in capitalizing off the bodies of migrants who want their children to have freedom instead of chains and fences. Abortion access is just one of the many ways we are being stripped of our bodily autonomy. We are in solidarity with our incarcerated comrades who are robbed of their autonomy and are now being confined to a cage against their will. Free all people and free them now. How many more Supreme Court decisions will they make to ensure we're all locked away after they strip us of our human rights? We can't go back and revert to old ways. We need to push progressive policies like health care for all and free education. We need stricter gun laws and investments in policy that protect people from racial and gender-based discrimination. Drink water. So thank y'all again for being here. Hey, we got all the homies here. And I know it's COVID, so we socially distanced, but we look deep out here. So again, one more time, Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Our bodies matter.
Our bodies matter.
Thank you. And we got Corinne from Power Up CT in the building. And she does have a few words to say. I'm assuming. So if you want to come up here, my love, and do what you got to do and say what you got to say, please, because we need to hear it.
But I'm glad that you are allowing me to have this space. Because as soon as I parked the car and I looked into the crowd, and I appreciate the sign Ruth sent us, but the truth is black women and indigenous women is who sent us. The fight for human rights for many white women just started when this decision was overturned. And that's why it's important when we talk about this human right, this birthright, it's important we talk about intersectionality. Because as a black woman, I was just doing this 2 years ago after the murder of George Floyd, and many white women stood behind their phones and their laptops and their TV screens as we were blocking the highways and telling us that's not the right way to protest. Yet, I'm seeing all over Instagram thousands of white women blocking the highways. The very same white women who told us not to do that when we saw the murder of George Floyd. And so I was asked to join a group that just came up on Facebook that has women all over the world up in arms. And the majority of the people in this group are white women. And one white woman posted, "How did we get here?" And I laughed. We got here because of pillow talk that you didn't check. We got here because you were not checking your 18 and 19-year-old sons who are purchasing AR-15s. We got here because you wanted to spit in a black woman's face when she wanted to protest at the state capitol. We got here when you sat by and saw your husbands raping us and then sending us to Planned Parenthood, and you said nothing. That is how we got here. We got here because you refused to listen to black women. We got here because you refused to listen to indigenous women. People were saying, well, what do we do now? And I keep telling people, listen and believe black women. Listen and believe black humans. Listen and believe indigenous humans. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Many are now just saying, what are we going to do about the midterms? Black and indigenous and brown women have been thinking about the midterms in 2022 since the murder of George Floyd, but you don't want to listen to us. We are not I see many comments saying that we're going backwards, but for black people, we've never been forward. And until you recognize the statement, all lives can't matter until black lives matter, this is what we were talking about. If we took care of the black and the brown and the indigenous lives, if we took care of the trans lives, if we took care of the queer lives, if we took care of the elderly lives, if we took care of the lives without homes, if we took care of those with mental health issues, if we took care of the disabled, then we would not be here today. But when you don't take care of the least, you will not take care of the most. White people, it is time to draw a line in the sand. It is time for you to start questioning your dentist. It is time for you to start questioning your GYN. It is time for you to start questioning your banker. It is time for you to start questioning your real estate agent. It's time for you to start questioning your teachers if you're in school. You need to find out which side of history they are on, and then you need to make a decision. And if you are not prepared to sacrifice time and money and blood and sweat and tears and your comfort and your privilege, then you don't need to be out here with a sign, and you cannot stand on my side. And if you feel uneasy listening to the words as I'm calling out whiteness, that's where your work starts. It starts with you unpacking why you are uncomfortable with me calling out how white women contributed to where we are today. And I'm not going to shy away from that conversation. Because black women and indigenous women have not had rights over their body since before 1619. And no matter how many times we've said that, you look straight through us. And it's not the time for you to begin to shed tears and go up to a black or an indigenous or brown person and express your remorse and how upset you are and how sorry you are. That's not the time to do this. The time is now for you to act with your dollars. And if you think that I am wrong about that, I urge you to go to opensecrets.org, and I urge you to go to, I believe it's FEC, Follow the Money. If you want to know how we got here, one of the ways is with our very own Democratic candidates taking campaign dollars and donating those same dollars to like Illinois and Texas. They're choosing anti-choice candidates, let me rephrase, anti-choice men who are candidates over pro-life women. There's so much more that I can say because we have hundreds of years before us. But what I'm going to say to our black and our brown and our non-white people and our indigenous people, we're going to survive this. We have survived so much worse and so much more. This is a new fight for white people because for many years your skin color and your class and your status and your privilege has afforded you in a protection that you've never truly understood how blessed you were able to have it until now. And to that, I say welcome to the fight. We in this for a long haul. And if you really truly want to know how we fight this, following organizations like Nonprofit Accountability Group and Power Up CT, we have already spelt out. Literally, it's things like donating to black and brown led mutual aids. Mutual aids is what saved us during the pandemic. It's not enough to just vote. And it's not enough to vote blue. You have to vote by person and not by party. You have to start looking at yourself and saying, you know what, maybe I need to run for school board. Maybe I need to run for city council. It's not enough to vote. You need to now get active beyond your vote. It's not enough to vote and donate $1 or $5. You have to go beyond that. We are now in a place, it's so funny because, and this is my last thing, about a year ago, not even a year ago, a year ago, after the insurrection, I started to put together, and you have all of Nonprofit Accountability's information, and so you can go directly to them and get powerupmanchester.org. About a year ago, after the insurrection, I began to gather white co-conspirators. It's not enough to be an ally. That's performative. I gathered white co-conspirators and I said to them, it is time for me to start putting together this new age underground railroad. And I wasn't even thinking about Roe v. Wade. I saw what happened at the insurrection and I realized much more is about to come. And so what I found out is black women across the country have been doing this very thing. This is the only time that I'm going to say this publicly. After that, everything is off grid. The work that you start doing from this point on, it does not need to be posted. You need to start getting to know the people standing next to you. You got to start moving outside of your comfort zone, start getting to know your neighbors. You really got to start knowing who you are aligning with. And you got to start building little pockets of groups that you can trust. People you can barter with, people who can grow things. You have to figure out who in your circle is skilled and what areas are they skilled, and y'all got to start working together. This right here is the revolution. Don't pay attention to what the Hollywood shows you. We are in the midst and have been in the midst of the revolution. Say that, sis. The revolution will not be televised. Thank you. Go ahead. So letting Tenaya go ahead and do that. PowerUpManchester.org. You can follow us, Power Up Manchester, on Facebook, Power Up CT on Facebook, Power Up CT on Instagram. Organizations like Nonprofit Accountability, like Power Up CT, we have mutual aid. Power Up CT has a pantry. We have a mobile pantry. We don't require any proof of anything. If somebody reaches out to us and say, hey, I'm in need, if we don't have it, we will find it. We will deliver. Even though the home office is in Manchester, we have delivered as far as Winstead. We don't have a lot. We have rent to pay. Wealthy white people, this is where y'all gotta step up. And if you yourself ain't wealthy, you need to find some wealthy white people you can start schmoozing with and get some money out of them. Because organizations like Tenaya and mine are not going to survive. Why? Because these funders have decided that Black Lives Matter has stopped trending. And so about 6 months after the murder of George Floyd, we saw the funds start to dry up. And that is across the country. We are all saying the same thing. We are applying for small grants, 5 and 10,000, and can't get them. And if we do get them, it takes them over 6 months to a year to disperse them. We also have a free after-school program, which we've had to consolidate from 2 days to 1 day because I don't have enough money to feed. We went from 10 kids to 40 kids in less than a year. We do that in a HUD housing low-income community in Manchester. So anybody can say whatever they want about me, but one thing they can never say is that I'm not about the community, I'm not about my people, because I am. In that after-school program, which is now turning into a summer program, we're paying 10, 14, 15, 16-year-old teenagers to be mentors. And truthfully, what I'm doing is I'm paying them $15 an hour, which, by the way, is not the federal minimum wage, to stay off the street. There are programs like mine, like Tenaya's, that are doing this work that is not getting the recognition, nor are we getting the funds that we need. And if we are going to survive, you need to make sure that you are assisting us in getting to the money. You need to make sure that you are showing up to rallies and protests, showing up. We've done Zoom webinars. Show up to those things. If your town, if your org, if your university knows about us and asks us to speak, I don't care if you don't have money. You better put some coins together. You have to pay black and brown and indigenous people, queer people, to come and speak on behalf of your organization or your building or whatever it is. Stop exploiting our labor. Because just as much as you want us to talk about how oppressed we are, we're facing the oppression daily. Thank you for giving me this time. Black lives matter!
Black lives matter!
Black lives matter!
Black lives matter.
Black lives still matter!
Black lives still matter!
Bands off our bodies!
Hands off our bodies.
Bands off our bodies!
Hands off our bodies.
And lastly, to all of the humans with vaginas and uteruses, I know that these conversations are difficult. In 1999, I was attending Virginia State University and I was brutally raped and got pregnant. I'm so glad it was 1999 because I came home to Hartford and had an abortion right at Hartford Hospital. I can't imagine my daughter, who's 17, gonna graduate college next year. And we know UConn is #1 in the country for rape, not just basketball. I can't imagine my daughter going off to college, and we know that college campuses are rampant for rape. I can't imagine her going to college, experiencing what I'm experiencing, and God forbid she decided to go to a college in a place like Texas or Florida. And I have to figure out how the hell to get her home safely if she decided that she didn't want that baby. So regardless of what your skin color is, if you are a human with a vagina and uterus and you have had to have an abortion for whatever reason, and you have to take time away because these conversations are too triggering, do so, because I need you in the fight for the long term. If you know someone you had to assist, my mother just told me and shared a story that she had to bring a friend who was raped when she was in college. My mom is 71 years old, and she brought her to my Aunt Connie. And Aunt Connie, and my mother was going to school in Ohio, college in Ohio, Wilberforce University. She was from Philly. She brought her roommate to Aunt Connie in Philly. And there was a woman that people knew in Philly, and that woman came to Aunt Connie's house and performed a backdoor abortion for my mother's roommate. I never knew that I knew someone that close. This is real. If you don't know what an abortion doula is, I need you to find out what that is. And if you have the space to be able to provide funds for someone to become an abortion doula, or you yourself can become an abortion doula, you need to do so. If you have the funds and the ability to be able to provide assistance for humans with uteruses looking to get an abortion from a state that has banned it, you need to email, I'm going to say nonprofit accountability or powerupmanchester.org, so that way I can connect you to the orgs that are doing the work. So, because this is where we're at. And we know that what's coming behind it is voting rights, same-sex marriage, interracial relations. All of it is coming. Get ready.
Thank you so much, Corinne. Such a powerful speaker. Y'all look up Power Up CT, Empower You. Corinne is doing amazing, wonderful things for Black people, for kids, for everybody in the state of Connecticut.
As many of you know, this November 8th is Election Day. What you may not know is on November 8th, there's going to be 2 questions on your ballot. And one of those will be to change the Connecticut State Constitution to protect abortion rights. Right now, everyone's right to abortion is subject to the whims of whoever is in our office. So that's Ned Lamont, that's our state reps right now. At any time, whether Ned Lamont steps down, whether Bob Stefanowski wins, no matter what happens, we need our Constitution changed. So on November 8th, I need you to vote yes on amending the state Constitution so that we can protect voting rights no matter who's in office. In order to get abortion access off our state Constitution once this passes, you would have to go through the entire referendum again. There would have to be a bill introduced and it would have to pass. And then afterwards, you know, we'd have to go out and do our thing. What I want you guys to do instead, November 8th, go out and vote, stick it on our Constitution. Let's lead the way in the country right now because this is unacceptable. Women are going to die because of this, and we should not get credit for being a safe haven for abortion unless it's on our Constitution. So everyone, once you leave here, go out, talk to every woman, talk to every ally you can, and let them know on November 8th, I don't care what else you do, but you need to make sure that abortion access is written into our Constitution. So, that's it. And now we march.
Thank you so much.
Is used for organ harvesting. Abortion is used for organ harvesting. Sorry.
Ma'am, go find your own rally to go to. Nobody wants to listen to you. Thanks. All right, y'all, let's march.
So I'm just gonna perform a song that's a bit political. It's called Kikio. I wrote it a few years ago just to express a lot of the police brutality, discrimination that we face, and the role that activists like me, like Corinne, like Asia, like Quanisha, you know, the role that we have in our communities trying to heal. Kikio was a zombie priestess, and she met her demise, but before that she was taking care of the sick and doing what she had to do. So I wrote a song about it. I swear I did. Check it. Abolish the police. Sex work is not a crime. Immigration officers need to do time. Politicians lie. We gotta act accordingly. But being orderly, maybe God be warning me. I never take heed cause I rather take the streets. I know I shouldn't trust everything they say to me. I know they make us pay for everything they get for free. Pray for me. If you think it's sweet, it's getting savory. Did I tell you that it's Kikio? Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio. Did I tell you that it's Kikio? Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio. Did I tell you that it's Kikio? Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio. Did I tell you that it's Kikio? Yo, why are everybody's lies so believable? It's feasible. If you fool me once, I got a deed to do. I'm taking ownership and owning it. Get a hold of it. I'm sticking out my chest even though it got a hole in it. Black soul, feel half whole, climbing the flagpole. That go to hashtag swole, ain't but a tadpole. I'm already hopping with the big frogs, barking with the big dogs. Resting bitch face, sometimes I'm pissed off. The world is gruesome, another newsome. We gotta do something before they kill us. Mortality gets realer. Did I tell you that it's Kikio? Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio. Did I tell you that it's Kikio? Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio. Did I tell you that it's Kikio? Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio. Yo, so we a team, now I'm breaking out the guillotine. I'ma take the head, that's what I think a leader mean. I snatch your soul, you can fight with it like Stockholm Syndrome. Be the villain or the victim, the catcher or the pitcher, get ratchet or deliver. I told him eat the cake, cause I only want a sliver. The kid is selfish, is something that I relish. I'ma be upfront with you, there's no need to embellish. Too many people on my back as it is. I'm taking care of everybody, I ain't got kids, but I feel like everybody taking care of me. And I blame the world in the way that it be. We looking at our phones, not looking up to see. I ain't trying to knock it, but sometimes I lose me. Did I tell you that it's Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio? Did I tell you that it's Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio? Did I tell you that it's Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio? Did I tell you that it's Kikio, 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 Kikio? Did I tell you that it's Kikio? Death never sleeps, robe all white, I'm still the black sheep. We can be estranged, but it's still family. It's an exorcism, call out the priest. Unwittable, I am a beast, but I'm still your equal. Stay tuned for the sequel. You can't heal this sickness, my heart is to the people. Did I tell you that it's Kikio, 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 Kikio is Kikio? Thank you so much, y'all.
So don't turn your ears off when you hear the background music. Please make sure you listen to the lyrics. I just came across this song today, so if you can please, I'm gonna share it on my page. So if you don't follow me, share it on my Instagram and my Facebook, because this song definitely needs to go viral.
Oh, say, can you see we may never be free from oppression and strife, broken systems and people? How much more will we take before hope will degrade? From mass shootings to rise, being stripped from our people, we are more unfair. Everyone's in despair. Our lives are at stake. How much more will it take to stop